Welcome to Strategy Saturday. I'm Charles Carillo, and today we're discussing what every real estate investor must understand before buying a property with unpermitted work. But before you move forward, there's a lot you need to consider, so let's get started. So as a real estate investor, you will inevitably encounter properties that have unpermitted work. This will be an immediate no for most property buyers, but some real estate investors will see this as an opportunity. And if you're that type of investor, then this episode is for you. Now, as a side note, years back, I sold a portfolio of properties and they had open permits, which took weeks to close out. It was a hassle. It was something that I documented. And to learn more about closing out those open building permits, you can check out episode SS77. That's SS77. But when you're encountering unpermitted work, there are a few steps buyers can take when approaching a property with this type of situation. Now, before we get started, let's clarify what unpermitted work actually is. So unpermitted work refers to any construction, renovation, or altercation done to a property without obtaining the necessary permit from the local building department. Now, this includes major and minor renovations, ranging from a new roof or electrical panel upgrade to an addition to the property. Now, some minor unpermitted work like a water heater replacement will probably not be recognized by an inspector or investor unless the work is shoddy. Compare that to a property advertised as a 3-bedroom, but legally it's really a 2-bedroom home. I mean, that's majorly going to change the investor's approach, the cost, the hassle. I mean, everything gets changed when a major problem like that or difference like that occurs. So number one, let's understand the unpermitted work. Once the unpermitted work has been identified, and that's usually done by an inspector or investor, hire at least one contractor to review the unpermitted work and make a suggestion on how best to rectify the issue. Because your inspector is going to notice it, right? They're going to identify it, but after that, it might give you an idea of what it might cost. But you really want a contractor that's going to do the work, go out there and give you a quote on, first of all, what they would do in the situation, and then how much that would cost. And it's kind of like, going to a different doctors and seeing what they suggest if you have an issue. Same thing with contractors. I might also bring out another contractor to do the same thing. And I'm going to also have them inspect the rest of the property and see if there's any other issues. I mean, if it's in one place in the property, it could also be in another place in the property. What is the quality of the unpermitted work? I mean, was it done correctly or is it a safety hazard? Usually, poorly done work will increase your legal liability. And furthermore, even if it's done correctly, your insurance company might not cover the damages caused by it. In any case, I would suggest getting two contractors to review it and see what they suggest. Now, review all of the property building permits to see if anything else has been missed or wasn't permitted. Very important as well, because you might uncover something that wasn't picked up before. And this is something you can dig into yourself, but also, and you can find this online and you can pull all these different building permits. But when you're actually walking the property, you're going to see stuff that doesn't line up. It's not so important when you're initially walking the property, but when you see major changes or differences, that can really change. Like, for example, the roof issue that we talked about before. If you're in an area like here down in Florida, roofs, the insurance goes up dramatically as the roof gets older. And it's something that the buyer or the seller has some sort of weekend roof work done that was unpermitted. And then you come along and they go, oh, it's a new roof here and there. But when you're looking, no permit was ever pulled for it. Your insurance company, they're not going to send someone out. They're not going to consider that really done that roof. They're going to look through the building permits, number one, and they're going to say there's no permit pulled for it. It wasn't legally done. And it's like it's never been done. So these are important things that you have to take into consideration when you're reviewing properties like this and kind of what your next step is, and to determine how the property's value will change. How will having unpermitted work affect your financing? The property's value will likely be lower than initially anticipated, and your lender will likely lower the amount they will lend. I mean, if you cannot rectify the issue, you might not be able to resell or refinance the property for the value you initially anticipated. Okay, and you got to also understand, if you're getting a deal on a property because there's issues, when you sell that property, you're going to be passing that discount along to the next buyer as well, because they're going to want it. It's like having a house under power lines or something like this. Whatever that discount is that you got initially got, you're going to have to pass that along to the next people. So number two is assessing the unpermitted work. After thoroughly reviewing the property, if you are still interested in moving forward, you can speak to the local building department and inquire about the process for legalizing the work. And I would not initially mention the exact address of the property to them. I would want to see how they react and what they say. And this is also another thing too, keeping in contact with a contractor. And I'd want to make sure that contractor that chosen to rectify this problems with, they've worked with the building department in that city. Building departments can vary greatly by town, and some of them are much tougher than others. And knowing how to dealt with them, they've fixed unpermitted work situations. This is stuff that you want to know before you sign with a contractor. Number three is negotiate with the seller. So once you have feedback from the building department, reach out to the seller and let them know what the permitting will entail. And I would, pad the estimates from the contractors as well to cover any cost overages, and additionally, for your time, right? Because now you're working almost as like a GC GC on this project as a project manager as well, making sure it gets done. So you have to make sure you're being compensated. You don't want to go in the hole for it, and you also want to be compensated for it. And if you recognize the issue with the unpermitted work, chances are other buyers are or have been as well. And this might motivate the seller to offer a discount to move on. Because like I said before, a lot of buyers are just going to avoid it, right? They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what it entails. They're not going to go through the legwork of it. They want something easy. But if you want to put the legwork in, they've gone through this, they're trying to sell the property, and you tell them, I will work with you for this, and it just has to be a discount on the price, they might go ahead with you. And suppose the seller decides to discount the property. In that case, the seller will most likely have you sign like an as-is sale disclosure, which fully discloses the unpermitted work and states the buyer is fully assuming all associated risks and costs. Also, make sure to consult my real estate attorney throughout the process to best advise you on your legal rights and obligations and to protect you throughout the process. Really, in your team, you're going to have the inspector that's going to find out what the problem is, or you as the investor is going to find out what that is. You're going to have one or two contractors that you're working with as well, in addition to your real estate attorney. It's a whole team effort to fix these problems. But if you're getting it at a significant discount, then it's something that it makes sense. Now, once you purchase the property, you can start the process with your contractor and building department to legalize the work. So I hope you enjoyed. Please remember, rate, review, subscribe, submit comments to potential show topics at globalinvestorspodcast.com. If you're interested in actively investing in real estate, please check out our courses and mentoring programs at syndicationsuperstars.com. That is syndicationsuperstars.com. Look forward to 2 more episodes next week. See you then. Have you always wanted to invest in real estate but didn't have the time, didn't know where to find the deals, couldn't get the funding, and didn't want tenants calling you? Since 2006, I've been buying income-producing properties in great locations that provide us with consistent passive income while we wait for appreciation in the future and take advantage of tax laws while we're waiting. And unlike your financial advisor, we invest alongside our investors in every property we purchase. Check out investwithharborside.com. If you like the idea of investing in real estate, if you like the idea of passive income, partner with us at investwithharborside.com. That's investwithharborside.com.
Nothing in this episode should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Any investment opportunities mentioned on this podcast are limited to accredited investors. Any investments will only be made with proper disclosure, subscription documentation, and are subject to all applicable laws. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions of guests are their own. Information is not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. The host is operating on behalf of Syndication Superstars, LLC exclusively.